Silver and gold, silver and gold, silver and gold. That's the Burl Ives classic Silver and Gold from the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer stop motion animation from the 1960s. Why am I going into radio announcer land? I always liked that song, and man, there's this reel on Instagram where a guy he basically recreated all of the snowman Burl Ives movements from that show, and it's unbelievable. It is unbelievable, and I watched it about 20 times because it's unbelievable. So, that's that. It's Oscar guy here. How's it going, y'all? Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. That's why I'm singing that dang song. It is December 22nd. We're a few days out from the big day. And I gotta be honest, I've been real busy with holiday stuff. So I've been putting off a lot of things ever since the Golden Globe nominations were announced and the Critics' Choice nominations were announced and the Oscar shortlists were announced. It's a busy month on top of all the holiday stuff, so needless to say, I ran a little bit behind with the holiday stuff. In turn, running behind with the podcast. It's been, I think, 2 or 3 weeks since I've done the last one, I believe. And I even intended to do a Oscar shortlists reaction video, and I actually did record one, but it ended up being kind of like, I don't want to say underwhelming, but there really wasn't a lot of surprises and a lot of shocks outside of I guess the sound category was a little weird. But I just got very overloaded with holiday stuff, and I was like, you know what, I'll just do a podcast, covering all that stuff, which we will get into. We're going to get into the short list here, but I apologize for those of you who are looking forward to a reaction video or the podcast even earlier, but it's just been a lot. But I have my Christmas shopping all done. I have everything wrapped. I got all my plans set in stone for Christmas week, and everything's good. Things have slowed down, and now we're here. We're recording the podcast. It is episode 10, I believe. We've made it to 10 episodes. Let's go. Come on now. 10 episodes. Oscar Out Here podcast. If y'all been listening, man, thank you. Thank you so much. And I know some of y'all out there, some of my close friends, don't really, I don't know if you guys care about all of this stuff as much as I do. So I appreciate you guys for, coming along this ride with me anyway. I really, it means a lot to me. And I know that some of you out there actually do care. Doesn't matter. Y'all are fans are fans, listeners are listeners. At the end of the day, I appreciate you all. So thanks for listening. And again, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. I hope y'all are well, and I guess we'll just get into it, right? Let's get into it, man. Let's get into it. Before we get to the Oscar shortlists, I guess we can, talk about what I've watched recently. I don't know how much I've watched since the last episode. Let's see. I talked about, okay, I've seen a few movies. Let's see. Diary. So, did I talk about Interstellar? I went to go see Interstellar in IMAX. Did I talk about that yet? I don't know if I did. Did I? I don't remember, y'all. I'm so sorry. Let me check my website. Let me see what episodes we have up. And let's see my description. Worst part about it is y'all already know, and I don't. Okay, so last episode I talked about Wild Robot Flow Piano Lesson. I don't know if I even talked about Good One or Janet Planet. Okay, so December 7th. Okay, I haven't talked about Interstellar. Okay, so I've seen a lot of movies, man. as busy as I've been, I've watched a lot of movies. Um, so yeah, I saw a good one, which is an indie film from director India Donaldson. That was very good, very good. Um, from what I remember, it's kind of like this coming of age drama, but the protagonist, who is a 17-year old girl, is already kind of mature for her age and is kind of figuring things out emotionally, really. As far as her life is concerned, like, she doesn't really have goals in mind, but emotionally she's very mature. And she goes on this backpacking hiking trip with her dad and her dad's friend. And they're kind of more emotionally insecure about themselves, especially the friend. And it kind of interferes with, I don't know. There's a lot of tension. There's a lot of uncomfortable scenes. It's very, it's a really interesting dissection of like the gender and generational divide. Um, but it's very simple. It's very serene. Um, it's really great, and the music is fantastic. It was good. It was a good movie. So that I watched that, and then I watched Janet Planet from Annie Baker. I also really enjoyed that. Um, a little bit of a little bit more of an oddball type of film. It's very vibes, very big on vibes, at least in like maybe the first half, and then it kind of turns into something else, in a great way. Um, and it's unique in its presentation. It's yeah, it tells the story of this 11-year-old girl who goes back home to her mom after summer camp, and she kind of witnesses her mom going through, I guess, like a midlife crisis of her own. You know, getting into relationships with men that are problematic, people going in and out of her life, and she's trying to figure things out for herself, and she's not really being like a motherly figure to this little girl as much as she should be. So the little girl is more or less of like a catalyst for her mother's growth, if you will. And it's very interesting. It's a very interesting movie, and it's set in '91. So it's very, very 90s. There's one scene where they go to a 90s mall, and it hit me right in the schnoz, if you will, the emotional schnoz, episode title. And yeah, it was great. It was really great, man. It was good. Very good performances. Um, and it was good. So Janet Planet, good one. And then I saw Interstellar in IMAX. And I'm gonna be honest. I remember seeing Interstellar um when I was younger. I think I was maybe 23 or 24 when it first came out. And I saw it at home, and I honestly like don't remember much of it, which is weird, given how like intense the movie is. But I think at the time I just wasn't I remember liking it, but I don't remember. I think I was doing something while watching it, or I was watching it with, I don't know if I was watching with a friend or something. I don't remember, but um I was just kind of like, yeah, Interstellar's good, it's fine. Um and then over the years, people kept talking about it and how amazing it was. And because even when it came out, like, so there were some people who were kind of lukewarm on it and weren't really sure about, some of the things going on in the film emotionally. So I was like, I don't know. I was kind of indifferent on it, very strangely. So I decided to give it a second chance, and they re-released Interstellar in IMAX. And of course, I'm lucky enough to be close to an IMAX theater that usually has IMAX re-releases and IMAX releases um, quite often. So I saw Oppenheimer in 70 millimeter IMAX there a couple times last year. Um, so I went and saw Interstellar in 70 millimeter IMAX, and holy shit, man. It was yeah. I don't know what I was thinking. It's a miracle of a film. Not only how the film is made and how it's presented, but like the story is kind of a miracle in action across 3 hours, almost 3 hours, um, and yeah, man, it really worked. It really worked for me, and it really elevated it to a different level. Seeing it in IMAX, very intense, sometimes overwhelmingly so, but in the best way. It's great, man. It's definitely up there. It's probably as far as Nolan films. I haven't seen all of Nolan's films. But I mean, I think Oppenheimer's still my favorite. But I remember really loving Inception. I haven't seen Inception in years. I think I've seen that one maybe twice. And then, of course, The Dark Knight is fantastic. I've never seen Dunkirk, and I've never seen Tenet. But as far as like my rankings, I think Oppenheimer would be my favorite, and I think Inception and Interstellar might be tied for second and third, respectively. But um, yeah, it was pretty insane. Interstellar and IMAX was pretty insane. Pretty insane. It really, I was kind of reeling from it. I had to go see it like at 10 p.m. too on like a Wednesday because that next weekend I was having company and I had to go Christmas shopping and everything, so I had to squeeze it in. So I remember coming home at like 1 a.m. on a Wednesday before work, and I was just like, I just want to keep thinking about this film. It really leaves an impact on you. It's so intense. Um, yeah, I think it's great. I will say, like while I like the ending, like the final sequence of the film is beautiful. It's crazy, but like the ending, I was like, they could have made that a little more interesting. I mean, it's kind of they wrap it up very in a very Hollywood-esque fashion. You know, everything works out. I don't know if I'm spoiling it or not, but like I don't want to spoil it, but I feel like it would have been more interesting if they left things up to interpretation a little bit more. Mm, uh, or like I don't want to say like it shouldn't have a happy ending because it definitely certainly does have a happy ending, but they could have done some more interesting things with how things went down, story wise. But I'm not going to knock it for that. I think it's still fantastic. So yeah, Interstellar and IMAX, wonderful, absolutely wonderful. Um, and then I went and saw Queer, the new Luca Guadagnino. Guadagnino. What was that? The new Luca Guadagnino film. He also released Challengers this past year, and that's still probably in my top 5 of the year. And I've heard Queer is a much different film, and it is. I'll tell you, it's it's a much different film than Challengers. I will say it's. Well, I will say right off the bat, I liked it. I wasn't completely in love with it. But I think it was very fascinating. It was very fascinating. Um, it's very bold, and stylistic. Uh, it's quite abstract and, dare I say, idiosyncratic. Um, Sometimes abstract in a way that's kind of unnecessary, and then other times it is. It's kind of a mixed bag, this film. It's a mixed bag. Um, and I don't want to spoil it. But later on it gets a little nuts in its abstractness. Um, and I don't know if I understood it completely, but it's just one of those films where you kind of have to. It's a challenging film, for sure, but It's basically about this guy who is this hopeless romantic who falls in love with this younger man, and he yearns for him, and he's kind of in this like unrequited love situation where he's the young man is receptive to him, but at times, but and other times he's like completely ignoring him, and things just aren't clicking. Um, and it's and then they go on this like trip where they go well a trip, quote unquote trip. They go to this trip so they can trip, essentially. They take ayahuasca. I don't think this is a spoiler. Later on in the film, they take ayahuasca to kind of have this spiritual connection. And I'm not going to say what happens after that and how it works out, but it goes to some very strange places. And again, some of it worked for me and some of it didn't. But I will say Daniel Craig is a insanely talented actor, man. Guy is insane, man. He's a chameleon. He's kind of like Tilda Swinton in the way she just completely embodies the characters that she plays, and just one of the best character actors in the world, really. Tilda Swinton, Daniel Craig's in there, Daniel Day-Lewis is in there. I mean, Daniel Craig is amazing in this film. I said in my Letterboxd review that I said he embodies such physical confidence and charisma, only to mask the deep insecurity, emotional insecurities and melancholy that he has under the hood, if you will, because he's just under this spell of yearning and longing and unrequited love. It's a very interesting character study in a way. And some of the other characters are interesting too. I mean, Drew Starkey as the young man that he falls in love with. He's got his own insecurities and his own issues as well. And then like Jason Schwartzman's in it, and he may or may not be in a fat suit. I think he is. Very bizarre character and very bizarre performance from him. And he's great, but really bizarre. And then if you want to talk about bizarre, Leslie Manville is absolutely unrecognizable in this film. She plays the sister of Daniel Day-Lewis's character in Phantom Thread, and she's this kind of like posh British lady who's very proper and very, she couldn't be more different in this film. She plays this like, I don't even, because they're in South America, but I think her character is American, like New Orleans American, and she has this weird accent, and she's got this long stringy hair, and her physicality is very I guess jagged. Like, again, couldn't be more different than her character in Phantom Thread. She's just completely unrecognizable. I think most people watching this film don't even realize that's her. And that's the sign of a great actor, obviously. So she was insane, bro. She was pretty insane. Yeah, crazy. Real crazy. Yeah, interesting movie. I think I would need to watch it again for me to kind of digest it more, or not. I mean, I don't know if I'd get much more on a rewatch. I think if anything, I should read the book. I think that might put things more into perspective. Speak with words, James. But I don't know. I liked it. I didn't love it, but I thought it was pretty good. And then I watched Kneecap, which is the Irish submission for international feature, which is actually getting a lot of love internationally. It's been, I think it was nominated for the Critics' Choice for international feature, or foreign language film. Yeah, it was nominated for the Critics' Choice. It did not get nominated at the Golden Globes, but it's definitely in the conversation to possibly get nominated for the Oscar. And I would understand that it would get nominated, because it's it seems to be very representative of the country and uh, what they are going through and what they have gone through in regards to the, I guess, the dispute with um, the native Irish language. And it was very informative. Like, I didn't even know. I didn't even know there really was a native Irish language before watching, and I feel like an idiot in saying that. But it was very informative for me, and then I was like, "Wow, this is pretty vital. It's a vital piece of storytelling." And it's about a band who actually exists, and I didn't know that either. Kneecap is an actual Irish rap group, and this is a film about them. It's not a documentary per se, but it's basically a narrative film covering their story, really. And it's interesting. It's really interesting. And the songs are great. I really like the music. I mean, I'm not really, I don't really go out of my way to listen to that type of music, but I did enjoy the songs. They're very good. And as the film itself, it wasn't really my thing. As far as some of it's a very in your face, very maximalist film. There's a lot of edits. There's a lot of fourth wall breaks. There's some post production things with like text on the screen as they're singing, and and I can only take so much of that personally. I respect it, but it's like not really my wavelength. I couldn't really get on this film's wavelength for whatever reason. But after a while, I kind of started to, get on board, and I was like, okay, this is definitely a story worth telling, if anything. But it was good. It was good. Yeah, it was intense, really dramatically intense. And then there's some other scenes that are very understated. And it's, I don't know. It was very simple and understated, and then it would jump cut to like a more intense. Like it was like the dichotomy there kind of threw me off a little bit. It didn't always work for me, but I don't know. It was fine. I wasn't super into it, but again, I think it was a story. It was very informative for sure. And I hope it gets nominated. It would be great. But yeah, Kneecap is on Netflix if you want to check it out. And it was good. It was good. I rewatched Anora as well because that was released on digital, and it was my third time watching it, and it just gets better and better on a rewatch. On every rewatch I've had with Anora, it just gets better and better. The feelings and my opinions of Anora have just only gotten more intense. It's more of a romp, it's more fun, and it's also more heartbreaking and in the grand scheme of things. Probably the best ending to any movie this year. It's brilliant. It's a really brilliant piece of writing and piece of filmmaking. It'll probably end up in my top 5 of the year, unless Baby Girl, A Complete Unknown, or Nosferatu really knock me out. And I don't know, what other films have I not seen yet this year? I mean, I haven't seen All We Imagine Is Light yet, and Seed of the Sacred Fig. Some of these international films I haven't seen yet. But it's certainly one of my favorite films of the year, and I will never get tired of it. Kind of like, I guess, Oppenheimer from last year. I saw Oppenheimer 5 times last year, and I'll see it again. I'll keep watching that movie. Same thing with Anora. I will just keep watching it, and I will just never grow tired of it. Very entertaining, very deep, very thought-provoking, very vital piece of filmmaking. So good. And then the last thing on my list, I actually watched it last night. I watched Eyes Wide Shut. It's a rewatch. I think it's my third time watching it. In fact, after watching it for the first time a few years ago, I made it a Christmas tradition for me to watch Eyes Wide Shut around Christmas time every year. And I don't know how to feel about it because it's such, yes, it's a Christmas movie, but it's a film where you really need to be in the mood to watch it. And even when I was watching it last night, like before I even put it on, I was like, am I in the mood for this wacky ass movie? Uh, it's a very strange movie. And you can't really take it completely seriously, as serious as the film makes you. I don't know. It's a very serious film, but there's this underlying current of like this. It really is just about a rich New York couple who has insecurities about their um, loyalty to each other and love for each other and their sexuality and everything like that. Like what is this film really saying? You know, it's kind of self-serious, but it's also like this is silly. Like the dialogue is sometimes really on the nose and very calculated and thought out, almost comically so. But that's why it works. That's why it works, man. It's such a bizarre movie. I love it. I love it so much. It's really one of my favorite Kubrick movies. In fact, it might be my favorite outside of 2001: A Space Odyssey. It's so good. It's so good. Um, that being said, like, do I gotta watch this every year? I don't know. I think I might discontinue this tradition, just because like it's a lot. It's a lot for you to kind of sit with. Um, you know, especially like the latter half of the movie, like after he goes to like the whole sex party thing in the middle of the film. Once he comes back from that, you kind of have to. It kind of tests your patience a little bit with kind of the fallout and the aftermath of his journey there. So I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. After my viewing last night, I'm like, okay, maybe this is as like a Christmas tradition. Maybe it's not like ideal, but I still really love the movie. I still really, really love it. Last year, in fact, I actually went to go see it in theaters at the Philly, I guess it's called the Philly Film Society main theater last year, and that was very memorable. Seeing it with an audience was really cool. But yeah, I watched that last night. I actually fell asleep near the end because it was pretty late, but it was it's a great movie if you haven't seen it. Going with an open mind. Don't think about it too much. It's really great. It's really great. But I think that is what I've watched. I've watched I've watched more movies than I thought since last episode. So from there, I guess we can talk about the Oscar shortlist that came out on, when was that? The 17th. So about 5 or so days ago, they released the Oscar shortlists, which are essentially they announced shortlists for 10 categories out of the 23 categories. There's 10 categories that they announced shortlists for, and what shortlists are they're basically a list of films or a list of I guess a list of films that that have made the cut, so to speak. Say, like, for example, one of the shortlists that they announced were documentary feature. So there are, 15? 20? I think 15. Actually, it looks like 20. Like 20 documentaries that have made it to the shortlist. And 5 of those documentaries will be nominated. It's basically like a precursor nomination announcement. Like, these films have made the cut, and we're going to vote on these 20 films to see what the 5 nominees are going to be. And they do it with most of the tech categories. So 10 categories. We do documentary feature, international feature, makeup and hairstyling, sound, visual effects, original score, original song, animated short, documentary short, live action short. So the documentary feature category is helpful for me because kind of before, I mean, it's not too helpful, but, in regards to the documentary feature category specifically, because of how unpredictable the category is year after year. Where was I even going with this? Documentary feature. So it's in a way it's helpful for me because like it's such a chaotic category, and its precursors are so chaotic. Like there's a lot of precursors that nominate the films. They all each nominate like very different films in each precursor, like Critics' Choice Doc Branch, CEH, IDA, Indie Spirits, PGA. They all have very differing criteria and opinions and biases in regards to what types of documentaries they like to nominate. And the Oscar shortlists for documentary feature kind of nail some kind of cohesive idea down in, what kind of documentaries could get nominated or what documentaries are the talk of the town, so to speak. But even then, like, it's still such a chaotic and unpredictable category because you just never know with the documentary branch of the Academy what the hell they're going to nominate. I mean, last year I think I got maybe 2 out of the 5 nominees predicted them correctly. They usually don't go with like celebrity focused documentaries like Will and Harper, or which actually made the shortlist surprisingly. Or there's like this John Williams documentary that came out that didn't make the shortlist, and they love John Williams. There's a Jim Henson one that didn't make the cut. There's the Superman Christopher Reeve story that didn't make the cut, which I hear is fantastic, and even won the Critics' Choice for a documentary. But yeah, it's interesting. But I will read off the shortlist. So we have the BB Files, Black Box Diaries, Dahomey, Daughters, Eno, which is about Brian Eno, and actually that kind of surprised me that made the cut. Frida, Hollywood Gate, No Other Land, Porcelain War, Queendom, The Remarkable Life of Evelyn, Soundtrack to a Coup d'etat, Sugarcane, Union, and Will and Harper. Now, No Other Land is probably the front runner now, but like I said, I mean, the doc branch of the Academy, they even love to snub front runners sometimes. So if No Other Land doesn't make the cut, like I wouldn't be completely shocked. Like I'll be shocked, but I'd be like, oh yeah, it's the doc branch. They do wacky shit all the time. But for right now, I mean that won IDA. It was nominated for CEH. It won Indie Spirits. It's been, more or less like between that and Sugarcane, it's been doing really well with the critics groups as well. Sugarcane is the next one. Sugarcane has been performing very well. So has a Soundtrack to a Coup d'etat, Black Box Diaries, and Dahomey and Daughters, as well as The Remarkable Life of Evelyn. So those are just, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They're just like, those are the top 6 for right now. But then we have Queendom and Porcelain War, which have both been nominated at 1 precursor each. Then all the rest of them, BB Files, Eno, Frida, Hollywood Gate, Union, Will and Harper, these are newcomers, basically. I mean, Will and Harper's been around, but has been really getting a lot of nominations. So, yeah, that was that. So that kind of nailed things down a little bit. We do have a top 6 for now, but again, we'll see what the Academy doc branch likes to do. They're a little weird. So then we have international feature. A lot of these are pretty straightforward. Not really any surprises. We have Armand from Norway, Dahomey from Senegal, Amelia Perez from France, Flo from Latvia, From Ground Zero from Palestine. The Girl with the Needle from Denmark. How to Make Millions Before Grandma Dies from Thailand. I'm Still Here from Brazil. Kneecap from Ireland. Santosh from the UK. Seed of the Sacred Fig from Germany. Touch from Iceland. That's kind of a wild card for me. Universal Language from Canada. Waves from Czech Republic. Another kind of wild card. And Vermiglio from Italy. Now, so Amelia Perez, Seed of the Sacred Fig, I'm Still Here. Obviously, those are the top three for sure. Girl with the Needle and Vermiglio both were nominated at Golden Globes, and then Kneecap and Flow were nominated at Critics' Choice. So we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I guess a top 7, if you will, for right now. And of course, All We Imagine Is Light from India did not make the cut because it wasn't even submitted from India. In fact, the Film Federation of India came out recently and said that that film is, quote, very technically poor. That's what the jury said, reportedly. Even though the film is basically sweeping all of the international feature awards in critic circles. So what do we know, you know? Yeah, they're weird. The Indian Film Federation are historically very picky and very selective in what they submit for Oscar consideration. And they hardly get nominated. We've seen it with RRR. They didn't even submit that. And whatever they do submit, it hasn't really been getting... Nothing that they've submitted has been getting any traction with this category. At least in recent years. I'm not sure what it looks like historically, but for right now, we're kind of hanging our head in shame. Because for all we know, All We Imagine Is Light, it's going to sweep. Watch it win Golden Globe, Critics' Choice, and even BAFTA. But I don't know. BAFTA didn't respond to RRR really at all. And I don't know if that had to do with the depiction of the UK or Britain in that film, because it's very I guess critical of that. But I don't know. It could also win BAFTA for all I know. So it's just it's a little frustrating. But anyway. Some of the other films, Universal Language, Armand, those are two very critically acclaimed international films as well. Waves, Touch from Ground Zero, How to Make Millions Before Grandma Dies, which I hear is a tearjerker and very, very solid. And then Santosh and Dahomey. Some of these films I don't know a whole lot about, so we'll see where they land. I know last year... I want to say last year, the Oscars nominated The Teacher's Lounge kind of out of nowhere. I don't know if that got any precursors really at all. So they might, nominate like the top 4 and then they'll pick like a random one. But that's what we got right now. Grand Tour from Portugal didn't make the cut, and Cloud from Japan didn't make the cut. All I'm saying is Japan should have submitted all Evil Does Not Exist. Which is probably in my top 5 of the year. But it is what it is. So from there we have makeup and hairstyling. Again, pretty straightforward. Outside of one, we have The Apprentice getting in to the shortlist. Beetlejuice, A Different Man, Dune Part 2, Amelia Perez, Maria, Nosferatu, The Substance, of course. Now that The Substance is in the shortlist, it will, 1, get nominated, and it will, 2, win. There's no reason it shouldn't win. And then we have Waltzing with Brando, which is the surprise of the category. And then, of course, we have Wicked. Why Waltzing with Brando is a surprise is that there was that picture of Billy Kane, I think that's his name, the actor who plays Brando in that film. I want to get this right. Billy Zane. It is a biopic about Marlon Brando, and they basically caked him in makeup to make him look like Vito Corleone. and it's pretty much 1-to-1. It's really, really impressive. But the thing is, like, I didn't even know that movie even came. Apparently the movie's been out for like a little bit, and we all just kind of forgot about it after that thing went viral, and it made the shortlist. So I was like, okay, well, that kind of makes sense because, you know, they love their prosthetics. So keep an eye on that. That could be this year's Golda. Golda was nominated last year because they caked Helen Mirren in makeup. Same thing with Waltzing with Brando. That could be a shock. You know, maybe that'll get in instead of Wicked. People flip a shit. Never say never. But yeah, other than that, that's a pretty straightforward category. The Deliverance is a movie that was nominated for a lot of Makeup Guild awards, and that did not make the cut. Gladiator 2 did not make the cut. Deadpool and Wolverine did not make the cut. Smile 2, Maxine, The Last Showgirl. These films did not make the cut. Saturday Night didn't make the cut, which is a shame because makeup and hairstyling in that film is very, very impressive. Furiosa has blanked. Joker Folie à Deux, of course, was not shortlisted. And then Sasquatch Sunset, which is kind of a marvel when it comes to prosthetics. That hasn't been getting any love during award season, pretty much. Strangely. But yeah, that's pretty straightforward there. What we got? We got sound. Okay, sound, ladies and gentlemen. Sound is a little wacky. I'm gonna say this category is a little wacky, and not really in a good way. Remember when the Zone of Interest won sound last year? That was cool as shit. That was incredible. Well, that's as good as we're gonna get for a while because this sound category is kind of boring. It's they could have done some interesting picks here, but all right, let me just read it off. We got Alien Romulus, cool. Blitz, there you go. Blitz actually gets shortlisted, nominated for something because I mean, if there's any aspect to Blitz that's the most impressive, it's the sound work. It definitely deserves a nomination. A Complete Unknown, I hear, is great sound. You know, for the kind of like a music-based film. Deadpool and Wolverine, okay. Blockbuster nomination. Dune Part 2. Emilia Perez, musical. Gladiator 2. Joker, Folie à Deux, shows up. Shortlisted for sound. Musical. Okay. Wicked, musical. Okay. And then The Wild Robot, which they like to nominate animated films here and there in sound. Or not really nominate, but like shortlist. And that's it. No Conclave. Wonderful sound work in that film. No The Brutalist. Wonderful sound work in that film. Nickel Boys. No Nickel Boys. What? Maria? No Maria. No Civil War. No The Substance. No Furiosa. Like, that's... Come on. Some of these snubs are kind of out of control. It's a little bit out of control. So they pretty much just did blockbuster films, big blockbuster films, and musicals, music-based films. So I don't know. I think they could have done better here. As far as what's going to get nominated, I mean, Dune Part 2, probably two of the musicals, Wicked and Emilia Perez, A Complete Unknown. And then that fifth slot could go to Gladiator 2, or it could go to Blitz, or who knows, maybe they'll throw a bone to Alien Romulus, because Alien Romulus actually showed up, shortlist day. So maybe they'll do something weird like that. Or maybe they'll even really shock us and go for a third musical nomination and actually nominate Joker. I don't think that's going to happen. That'll be a complete shock, but it's in the shortlist, so never say never. Yeah. Weird category. Sound is a weird category. Moving on from there, we have visual effects. We have Alien Romulus, Better Man, Civil War. Here, there's Civil War. Why do you shortlist Civil War for visual effects and not sound? Civil War had some pretty striking sound work. Deadpool and Wolverine, Dune Part 2, winning. Gladiator 2, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, Mufasa the Lion King, actually made the shortlist. Twisters, Shore, and Wicked. Pretty straightforward. No The Substance. No Furiosa. Furiosa just blanked here. No Godzilla X Kong. No Here, obviously. But other than that, that's pretty straightforward. Original score. This is a big one. We have 20 scores, 20 films in this shortlist here. We have Alien Romulus making the shortlist. Baby Girl, Beetlejuice, Blink Twice, okay, Blitz from Hans Zimmer, The Brutalist, thank God, Challengers, of course, Conclave, Amelia Perez, The Fire Inside, interesting, Gladiator 2, Horizon and American Saga Chapter 1, remember that? Well, made the score shortlist. Inside Out 2, Nosferatu, The Room Next Door. They love our Alberto Iglesias, by the way. Sing Sing gets in. The 6888, Wicked, The Wild Robot, and Young Woman and the Sea. What's not here? Oh yeah, Saturday Night is not here. What the hell, man? Come on! God, you kidding? Saturday Night is just dead. It's dead at the bottom of the ocean, and that upsets me, because not only is that a great movie, one of my favorite scores of the year from John Batiste. Really cool. I mean, look up the Saturday Night score. In particular, Welcome to 8H, I think is the track. Listen to that and tell me that doesn't bop to high heaven, dude. Come on, how do you not recognize that? And John Batiste, too. I mean, he was shortlisted and nominated last year, too. Crazy, man. He's an Oscar winner. He won for Soul, along with Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross. What are we doing, man? God, that movie's dead. Sucks. But it is what it is. But at least The Brutalist is here. Challengers is here. Conclave, Amelia Perez, Room Next Door, Wild Robot, Sing Sing. Pretty much like most of the... Oh yeah, Queer isn't here either. That's another weird snub. They did do Challengers, but their other score for Queer did not show up here. Definitely more of a unconventional score. In ways it's unconventional, and in other ways it's not. I thought the score in Queer was great. I personally like the Challenger score more, but I think it deserved maybe at least a shortlist mention. Not even making the shortlist, kind of, it's weird. So Queer and Saturday Night are really the only two that really did not make it in. Oh yeah, Nickel Boys. Although I am not even sure I don't know how much original music was in Nickel Boys. Some of that could have been licensed, but I'm not sure, because I actually tried looking up the Nickel Boys score and I couldn't really find anything. So I don't know. I don't really know if a lot of that is licensed or not. Maybe, they have this stupid rule where, if more than 20% of the score is from another source or it's not written for the film, then it's automatically disqualified. By the way, that's what happened with Dune Part 2. Dune Part 2 is officially out of the race for original score for the Oscars because it was deemed ineligible officially. And that's upsetting because that is easily in the top 5, if not top 3 scores of the year. Incredible. It's a very stupid rule. It's a very, very stupid rule. And if it were up to me, it would be nominated, if not winning. But it is what it is. We got to play by the rules. Rip to Dune Part 2 score. But yeah, that's original score. And then we have original song. Pretty straightforward. Again, we have Forbidden Road from A Better Man, which has been deemed ineligible after it made the shortlist because of its similarities to another song, and I don't know what that other song was. Let me look it up real quick. But that's Academy. What are we doing here, man? What are we doing? Figure it out before you shortlist it. You know what I mean? Like, that ain't cool. And there will be no replacement either. They're not going to replace it with anything. It's just like, bye, better man. Reports point to a song, I Got a Name, written by Charles Fox and Norman Gimbel for the 1973 film The Last American Hero, as featuring similarities to a part of Forbidden Road. Come on. I haven't made a cross comparison yet. I probably should. But I just read that from an article on Deadline. That's a little suspect. Just the fact that it made the shortlist and then they're like, oh, by the way, never mind. Whatever. So, other than that, we have Winter Coat from Blitz, the song that Saoirse Ronan sings in that film. That kind of surprised me. I thought Blitz was dead in the water, but maybe it's still got a couple of bubbles, breathing a couple of bubbles underwater. Compress Repress from Challengers, which has been doing very well. That was both nominated at Golden Globe and Critics' Choice. Deservedly so. That's the song that plays during the end credits. We have Never Too Late from Elton John, Never Too Late, which, whatever, cool. El Mal and Mi Camino from Amelia Perez, of course. Sick in the Head from Kneecap. I don't think that's even my favorite song from that film, but it was good. It was good. Very, very deserving. Any of the songs in that film are deserving of a nomination. We have Beyond from Moana 2. Okay. Tell Me It's You from Mufasa. Sure. Piece by Piece from Piece by Piece. Like a Bird from Sing Sing. Thank God. That's been kind of underperforming. In some precursors. The Journey from 688. Of course. That's the Diane Warren song this year. Hello, Diane Warren. Hello again, Diane Warren. Congratulations on your shortlist mention. And congratulations on your nomination, Diane Warren. Out of Oklahoma from Twisters, sure. Kiss the Sky from Wild Robot, and Harper and Will Go West from Will and Harper. Overall, a pretty good list of songs. There's really nothing missing other than, I guess, Claw Machine from I Saw the TV Glow. That was definitely a long shot, but that's kind of like a hope dict, I guess. But other than that, that is pretty straightforward. That is a straightforward category. And then all of these short film short lists: animated short, documentary short, live action short. I don't really know any of them. I think there's one that I know. Let's read them off just to be fun. In fact, we'll do this. All right, here we go. The nominees for the short list of animated shorts are as follows. Au revoir, mon monde. A bear named Wojtek. Beautiful men. Bottled George. A crab in a pool. In the shadow of the cypress. Magic canyons. Maybe elephants. Maybe. Origami. Perseves? The 21. Wander to Wonder. The Wild-Tempered Clavier. And Yuck! There you go. Documentary short list are as follows. Chasing Rue. Death by Numbers. Eternal Father. I Am Ready, Warden. Incident. Instruments of a Beating Heart. Keeper. Michaela's Voice, A Letter to the World. Once Upon a Time in Ukraine. The Only Girl in the Orchestra. That's the only one that I know. Planet Walker. The Quilters. Seat 31, Zooey Zephyr. A Swim Lesson. And Until He's Back. Okay. And then we have live action short film. Shortlist is as follows: Anuja, Claudia, The Compatriot, Crust, Dovecote, Edge of Space, The Ice Cream Man, I'm Not a Robot, The Last Ranger, Aline, The Man Who Could Not Remain Silent, The Masterpiece, An Orange from Java, Palos 70, and Room Taken. And that's time, ladies and gentlemen. Those are the short lists. I've taken into account those short film nominees and put them in my dang old spreadsheet. As far as the shorts go, as far as precursors, there really isn't a precursor for... let me bring up my sheets, my spreadsheets here. I know a couple of them have precursors, and then one of them just doesn't. I think it's the documentary short category that doesn't have precursors. Predictions, races. Here we go. Documentary short. Yeah, there really is no lead up to the documentary short race. There's no precursor, so I essentially just go off of Gold Derby. As far as like nominations, and usually I'm like 3 out of 5, 4 out of 5 when I'm predicting nominations for that category. As far as animated feature, I think there's no, not animated feature, animated short. Where's animated short? Animated short. Where you at? There you are. They're the Annies, which, by the way, the Annie nominations have been announced, and I haven't even looked at them, so maybe we'll do that next. There's the Annie short category, and then there's the Annie special category, and then there's the BAFTA. The BAFTA have an animated short category, which I'm not sure correlates that well to the Oscars. But it's something. It gives us something. And then we have live action short, which has one precursor, BAFTA. Again, not sure how much that correlates, but it is something. So yeah, those are the Oscar shortlists. Those have, kind of narrowed things down for us as far as predictions. Mostly, by the numbers. There's some weird snubs here and there and weird inclusions here and there, but for the most part, kind of boring. It's kind of boring, which is kind of why I didn't even upload my reaction video for it. It just wasn't good content. Wasn't good enough content for y'all, but those are the short lists. And of course, the Golden Globe nominations and the Critics' Choice nominations were announced. And you can see my reactions to both of those on my YouTube channel. Those were fun. The Critics' Choice nominations were a little bit more standard and I guess boring, give or take, than the Golden Globes were. And even some of the Golden Globes picks were like a little lackluster, but it was fun nevertheless. My reaction videos are probably my favorite thing to do on this channel. I've said it before, but like I love doing reaction videos. They're just a lot of fun. So let's see. Just a couple of quick news items. The Oscars are gonna stream on Hulu next year. That doesn't help me because I don't have Hulu anymore. Joke's on y'all. I usually watch it on YouTube TV anyway. I have YouTube TV, so that's where I watch it. I used to have Hulu because I had Hulu along with my Spotify Premium subscription, but then I canceled Spotify Premium and switched to YouTube Music. Thus, it canceled my Hulu subscription, so that's why I can't watch on Hulu. Just had to make that clarification there. But Oscars are going to be on Hulu. Conan's going to host them, and then that's it. And Linus Sandgren, one of my favorite cinematographers working today. He was the cinematographer for La La Land and Babylon and Saltburn. Wonderful cinematographer. He is going to be shooting. He's going to be the director of photography for the third Dune film, Dune Messiah, taking the place of Greg Fraser, who is, I think, working instead on the new Batman film. I guess the Batman sequel, the Robert Pattinson Batman, the sequel of that. And maybe I think that's why there's a conflict there. But Linus Sandgren, wonderful cinematographer. I have no qualms about that. No issues with that. No notes. You get that bag, Linus. Other than that, film Twitter is very indifferent on Anora for whatever reason. There's a lot of people who don't like it, or don't understand it, or don't see the hype about it. And I'm just like, I don't know what to tell you guys. It's kind of, I think what's happening is it's subverting normies' expectations, for lack of a better term. I hate using that word because it sounds so derogatory, but you know who I mean. They're non-cinephiles. They're people who don't watch nearly as many movies. They're more content consumers than film lovers. These people, they expect films to be one way, and if it defies their expectations, they're very close-minded about it, and they're just like, oh, it's not good. No. I mean, think about it. I don't know. And, there's a bunch of controversy going on with Anora, but like Twitter is like this. Every year they seem to latch on to a film or two films, and they just kind of just berate it. And it's distracting because you think it has you think it kind of acts as a detriment to its award season chances when it really doesn't. I mean, it happened with Maestro last year. It's kind of happening with Emilia Perez this year. It's also happening with Anora this year. Guess what? Emilia Perez, Anora, they're going to go gangbusters at the Oscars, and one of them might even win Best Picture. So it is what it is. And then Maestro was nominated for a bunch of Oscars. Year before that, I think Licorice Pizza, people kind of slammed on that, but that ended up getting into Best Picture anyway. It just happens. Like this discourse just happens every year, and I want to say I'm numb to it, but it does affect my. It's still distracting, and it gets old. It gets really old. So it is what it is. I think Anora is amazing. So. Whatever. But if you don't like it, that's fine. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion, and that's fine. That's fine with me. But I don't know. Should we cover the Annie nominations? How long have we been going? Okay, we're at an hour. We're not going to cover the Annies. That could take a while. If anything, I will probably talk about the Annie nominations in passing during my next live stream or my next predictions video when I'm talking about animated feature and animated short. And I think we'll just leave it at that. We're not gonna get into that just yet. I guess that's it. That's it, y'all. Thanks for listening. There were times when I was recording this episode in real time. I was like, is this even good? Is this even entertaining enough and interesting enough for people to listen? And sometimes I doubt myself. I have, I guess, what do you call it? Imposter syndrome when it comes to that. I'm like, is this even? We'll just call it that. Is this even? Even Stevens. Is this odd? Is this even? Stop, James. Doing solo podcasting is hard, man. It's really hard because you have to carry yourself. You have to carry your own cadence without bouncing. I'm not bouncing it off anything. I'm bouncing it off my own damn self. So, you would think I'd be bouncing it off of y'all, but y'all are through the ones and zeros. I'm looking at my microphone and my pop filter and my Ring camera that's off, and the frickin' my monitor, my computer monitor. I don't have anything to bounce up. But, it is what it is. That's what I signed up for. No guests for now, no co-host for now. It's just me, baby. Just me. So, we're going to leave it at there, folks. Leave it at there. We're going to leave it there, James. Yeah, English is cool. We'll leave it at that. We'll leave it at that, folks. Thanks again for watching. Thanks again for subscribing. If you aren't subscribed already to my YouTube channel, what the heck you doing? OscarGuyHere.com. Got my predictions, my podcast, my future videos up there. Instagram, Oscar Guy Here. Twitter X, Oscar Guy Here. Letterboxd, JazzMusic131. Follow me on everything. Check me out. And have a great holiday season. Have a great Christmas. Have a great Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever you celebrate. If you don't celebrate anything, still, I hope you get to spend some time with your friends and family. Be merry, be kind to each other. Put your differences aside and just be there for one another. That's what it's all about. Yeah, happy holidays. Bundle up. It's too damn cold outside right now. It's 19 degrees outside as we speak. Too cold. But yeah, bundle up, stay warm, stay cozy, be cozy with one another, and have a good one. I might do another episode before the year ends, maybe before New Year's, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. But if I don't see y'all, if I don't talk to y'all, have a Merry Christmas and have a Happy New Year. Thanks again for watching. You're not watching shit. You're listening. Thanks for listening. Thanks for sticking around. I catch you on the flip. And Oscar Guy is out. Take care, y'all.